Hello and welcome. My name is Arity Green and this is Wise Woman Oracle and Tarot. And today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on your career direction and next steps. So this could very much be an employment situation or a business situation, whatever your career looks like. We're going to talk about career direction, clarity on your career, and more or less your life purpose and purpose work and path. So I encourage you to stick around if this is something that interests you. If you find you like this video, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications whenever a new reading pops up. I always want to let you know that I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching work. So if you'd like to get to know more about me and how I can support you, you can check out those details at aritygreen.com. So without further introduction, Without further introduction, I will put a picture up of your 4 card piles to choose from today. They go from left to right from your point of view. Okay, so card pile 1, we're talking about career direction, clarity in your career next steps. Okay, so you've been working hard towards something, and sometimes it feels like it's been some long, arduous journey. I don't feel that level of heaviness for card pile 1, although it very much could be true. More than anything, you're being told that your hard work is now paying off. It's like the wheel of fortune is shifting. Things are moving into a new season or cycle where you're going to start finally seeing the fruits of your labor. The harvest is finally coming. Your work is paying off. And there's a subtler energy too that I want to give words to, but it's not here quite yet. So I'm just going to give it a moment, and if I can't get it, then we'll probably catch it through the other layers of the reading. But I feel like this is something you've been wishing for. This is something you've been hoping for. It's like interesting because I'm not feeling that energy of, I've worked so hard for this and I put in so much time, energy, and attention. You probably have, especially because this is a Capricorn card in the Moonology deck. So I wouldn't doubt that was the case. However, the energy more that I'm feeling is almost like that eagerness and anticipation of just wanting something to get off the ground, wanting to see results out of something, just some excited anticipation of like, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen now? And is it going to happen now? What about now? And the energy is that it feels right here. But what's interesting with the clarifier card of change, or the Wheel of Fortune, it's interesting because it feels a little bit more slow moving. So it's interesting. I have this really excitable energy that I'm feeling on one hand, but on the energy, much more slow moving energy. So what that's also telling me is that for some of you, you might be in a situation where you've been so excited and wanting to see results, and just excited about it, waiting for it, eagerly anticipating it, yet it hasn't happened, and you're being reminded here or affirmed that it's on its way. But it's like the wheel is turning, the cycles are moving, things are happening and underway, more so probably energetically than physically at this point. And those changes are coming, but it's almost like you got to allow that wheel to turn. Like there's some churning that's happening, and some of that feels like a churning that's sort of helping you release old layers and patterns. And I don't like saying that no longer serve you, because we hear that everywhere, but that aren't fully supportive for you in terms of your long-term vision, or even how you want to feel on a day-to-day basis. Being able to feel really, excited, or just in a place of contentment or peace or satisfaction or fulfillment. It's hard to be in that space if we have some things like self-doubt or really strong attachment, things like that. I'm not getting any particular thread of shadow here, and perhaps it's because you're aware of all of those things. All of that stuff has already been illuminated to you, so you're just like, okay, I've done the work, I know what it is, just when is it coming down the pike? And so what I'm getting here is, one of two situations, or perhaps both could be applicable, where the change is coming, the results are coming, and or I know you want this and you can trust that it's happening, but it's a slower moving energy than the ego would prefer. It's like we get excited, just like a kid, a 3 or 4-year-old, we get really excited about something, and we just want something to be there. There's nothing wrong with that excited energy and just being really excited and that fun, innocent place of anticipation. Like that's a good, innocent energy to carry with you. That's the inner child. Explore that, enjoy that, be in that. And yet life might churn and turn a little bit more slowly than we would prefer, right? Especially a child, when you say, well, you can't have it now, but you can have it next week. That is not going to go well. Feels like an eternity to that child. So perhaps you relate to some of that. So let's move on and see what else is here. Yeah, so you've had some fears come up, card pile 1, around security, around stability, financial wellness. And you're not sure perhaps if this is the right career for you, or if it's going to get off the ground, or if it's ever going to, you're ever going to hit it off. That's not the term, but there's a term like that. I want to trust that you know the phrase better than I do, even though, you know, you would think, I swear, like I always say, I swear I'm smart, but sometimes I'm also real. I'll let you know how it is. But it's saying here, there's this opportunity to trust, because you're getting nervous, you're getting uncomfortable, and maybe not right now this second, because I also felt some really lighthearted, innocent, playful energy, but there are times, and maybe that's the stuff that's being churned out, where you get, again, that really strong attachment, you start getting worried, you start getting concerned, you start questioning everything, you start doubting yourself, you start second guessing, you start backpedaling, then you're so confused and have not enough clarity to even do anything. You're certainly like not in alignment. I mean, I think we're always in alignment, but we're not necessarily in alignment with our highest path if we're backpedaling and forgetting and losing sight of our own voice and what it is we really want to do, what it is that's important to us, and all that stuff that can happen when those old fears and uncertainties and anxieties and worries and concerns start popping up. I feel like that happens for you, but you are being assured here that you and your loved ones are safe, and that's the primary message here. But what it tells me energetically is you do have these concerns and worries, and you wonder if this is worthwhile for you. You wonder, am I putting my energy and time into something that may never pay off? Am I putting my energy and time to something that may never get off the ground? And some of you even have families, I feel like, and you might even have a sense of guilt of, maybe I should be doing something different to ensure provision for my family, to ensure I can provide for my family and protect my family. And instead, here I am messing with a pipe dream. Like, who am I to do that when I could choose something perhaps more predictable, or something that pays more or does more or whatever, right? So whatever version of that applies to you, but you are being assured that you are safe, and to trust that whatever you consider it or call it or label it, higher power, God, source, cosmos, spirit, creator, you are being watched over, you are being protected, and you can trust, and not just trust that all good things will come to you. I have had to learn, and it's more of trusting no matter what happens, we own and occupy that trust. So it's not fair weather trust in God and cosmos. It's trusting that no matter what happens, it's all working out for the highest good, and that our highest favor is in mind. So there is this message here that you are safe. I do still get that message, though, that this is going to happen for you, that you are on the right track, that you are putting your eggs in the right basket. There is a message of comfort and reassurance here. It doesn't feel like this, promise of, just rainbows and unicorns necessarily. It just feels very neutral and very content and very like it's all going to be okay, and there's no reason to worry, and that you can trust that you are safe, and that you can also trust no matter what happens. So, good things are coming, and I know we got that earlier, and if you find that you are in a position where you are worrying more, or finding yourself in anxiety, or wondering if you took the right path or made the right choice, or are you making the right choice for your family, it feels like you can trust it. That's what's coming through. There's a message here of reassurance, that it's okay, that everything is going to be okay, that this choice that you're making for yourself is okay. Okay, so there's a message here as well. When we talk about career direction, it's saying there is an opportunity here for greater connection to yourself, greater authenticity. What is it that you really want to do? How is it that you really want to show up? You very well may already be doing something that you feel is 100% authentic to you. So the message here would then be, where are you still trying to present something that maybe you don't want to, or present something that you actually aren't, or you're trying to play the game or follow along with the shoulds, and in one way or another still wearing a mask because that's what works, or that's what the world wants, or that's what I was told to do, and that's what pays off, that's what pays the bills. Again, where are you being inauthentic to yourself, and what it is that you truly ultimately want? It's going back to the drawing board and saying, is what I am pursuing at this moment my truest, most authentic expression and path? And if it isn't, it's not feeling like you throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's not what this feels like. It doesn't feel like some kind of disposal and just let go of what doesn't serve. It doesn't feel like that. It more so feels like a refinement and honoring, a tweaking and adjusting and being 100% on path and in alignment with what you truly ultimately want. It's giving yourself permission to do the damn thing, whatever it is, like to go all out, to go all in, to be yourself completely and see where it takes you, because that's what's going to bring you that peace, that inner contentment, that fulfillment that you seek. You are seeking some kind of satisfaction in your career. You are wanting something that you're not currently feeling, and that's why you're here. And aside from those messages of reassurance and letting you know that everything is going to work out and everything is going to work out well, ultimately, eventually, it's also saying coming into peace with not only where you are now, because that seems like a relevant message, but also coming to peace with who you actually are, what you really want, what is truly most important for you. And if you could decide 100% to a T what you did on a day-to-day basis, if you could 100% dictate that, what would that look like? And then take a look at what you're currently doing or what you're moving toward and making that comparison or assessment, and then changing what needs to change so you can be in full 100% potent alignment with what it is that you want. It feels like some of that churning that's happening that we talked about earlier in the Wheel of Fortune, it's also helping turn things and churn things to release any old masks or layers or identities and things that aren't ultimately true for you, where you're still operating based in shoulds or people pleasing or what you think you should do or what other people said you should do. And it's like that Wheel of Fortune, it's like the results come in once you're on par with yourself. The results come in once you're being 100% true to yourself. Like once you're in that place, it's like all that resistance shifts and you make space for what's been wanting to come through all along. And that's really what I feel energetically. It may not intellectually make sense, and I know sometimes we hear some of that mumbo jumbo and we're like, well, yeah, what does it actually look like? You know, to me it feels like at some level being like resistant or having a lot of resistance, because somewhere, some way, like we already talked about, you're not fully honoring yourself, what it is that you truly want. So it's like a resistance, pushing that away, avoiding that. Well, that's not for me, right? Preference. And I'm not saying that we're always going to be able to do what we want to do, but there's something here that's important to your soul and your deeper self that's almost a non-negotiable for you and for your path. That's what this churning and this turning of the wheel is trying to do for you, is churn that out and for you to be done with it. In fact, I saw this meme last night and I've actually never cared for it. I've seen it a bunch of times and I've always thought it was kind of cheesy, to be honest. But then for whatever reason last night it hit me. I even wrote it down, and then here we are doing a reading. So perhaps it was for you all, card pile 1, and it was saying something like, you know, she was in a lane that was never going to work out for her. It was way better than this, you guys, and way shorter. But it was like she was driving in a lane that was never going to work out for her, and she proceeded to make her own way or go into her own lane, and she won. So that's kind of the vibe here. It's like you're in a race that was never yours to begin with, in a race that was never true for you in the first place, doing something that was never really entirely you or yours to own or claim anyway, right? And so, of course it feels like climbing uphill because this wasn't ultimately meant for you, and you're attempting something that was never right for you. It kind of reminds me of the people who love the idea of solving a crime, right? They love the idea from movies or because of justice, and they want to help people, but they cannot stand for a second the sight of a murder victim and don't want to ever have to face a crime scene and never want to have to see harm to a child. It's like that person going into homicide detective work in New York City. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like totally out of alignment. Like there might be some pieces that match, but then it's like, no, that's not at all for you, clearly. So it's something like that. And so let's see what your final cards are. Yeah, oh my gosh. So part of this is about being willing to show your whole true self as you are. You know, a silly, quirky, eccentric, whatever your edge is, whatever your unique personality is, whatever your unique way or voice is, whatever your own path is. It's like going out there and doing the damn thing and showing up and doing it completely. There's like a self-expression, self-actualization that wants to occur here, a self-realization, because we have to step out of your comfort zone. So there is something here about where are you still hiding? Where are you still holding back? Where are you still sort of pausing or delaying or stagnating? What is still calling to you but you haven't done it? Because there's this maturity that wants to come through that, again, is supporting this greater harvest to come through. The reason that wheel is still turning and churning isn't because the wheel has to churn and turn. It's not because it's some divine cosmos thing and it's doing this. It's doing it because of you. Meaning, it's going to continue to churn until you're ready to release some of this stuff, until you're ready to become truly wholly you, fully authentic to you, be yourself completely, give yourself permission to be that person. It's only still turning because of you. So once you are willing to step out of your comfort zone, express and actualize these parts of yourself that you know have been calling toward you, that you've maybe sat on the shelf and haven't returned to in a while, whatever it is, the parts of you that you've sort of hidden away or haven't fully come out with, those are the elements that are being asked to be brought forward. And this greater maturity and self-actualization is ultimately what supports that shift to finally take place. We're going to put that in quotes, finally. And then I wanted to pull a card on advice too, because I know we got next steps or career direction, but I feel like there's an opportunity for advice here, and I feel like that is when the harvest comes through. There's almost like a guarantee here, and the universe is actually waiting on you. You feel like you're waiting on the universe. You know, give me a sign, give me clarity. You're checking out these pick-a-cards, and you're like, when and what and how and why and et cetera, et cetera. And the universe is like, this isn't on us, this is you. You know, you decide, you make your move, and we're here whenever you're ready. So it's trying to churn out those shoulds, those things that are inauthentic, those masks that still aren't ultimately true for you. They want you to get out of that lane that has nothing to do with you and get onto your lane. You might even be saying, well, what is my lane? I don't even know anymore. And look what I get when I pull a clarifier card on that. It's success. So then my question would be, because we are being given success, I do think that's you're being shared that there is a potential here for success, if not a guarantee, because that's what it does feel like. Of course, this is pick a card reading. You are your final authority. Please don't rely on a pick a card reading to tell you your life story. You know, can't hold us responsible in that regard. But I feel like there's a message here about this. Ask yourself, what would you like to see yourself successful in? If you had a choice to be a millionaire, if you had a choice to be a 6- and 7-figure year person, if you had a choice to, whatever your indicator of success, you know, I'm not all about financials. I'm also about those deeper values too, about fulfillment and satisfaction. So of course, consider your definition of success. Ask yourself what that is first and foremost, and say, what would I like to do or create? How would I like to show up, express myself in the world? What would I like to share that would also bring me success? So you're going to move toward that. So it's like asking yourself, what is your ideal day? What is your ideal career? In what ways is your current career still not true and aligned for you and authentic for you? Asking yourself, if I could do anything and get paid for it, what would I do? And that's going to be how you're going to adjust and refine your career path from here to fully align yourself with that success that you seek. So card pile 1, I hope this resonated for you. If it did, please do like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. You might very well hear the horses downstairs. And of course, if you do want a reading or you want to reach out to me and see what kind of work we can do together, you can check out the details below or go to aritygreen.com. Thank you, card pile 1. Okay, card pile 2, we're talking about career direction. Yeah, so things have been a little bit crazy, hectic, chaotic, busy, intense for you. I feel an energy of like juggling all the things, and you're just unable to find true clarity for yourself because you are in the midst of tasks, burdens, responsibilities, endless things to do. It's like at this point right now, you're just going through the motions and running on the hamster wheel, and sort of you're in the rat race more or less. And so it's very difficult to see clearly when you're in that space. There isn't another message here, like usually we'd be given some kind of guidance or advice or something. We'll probably catch that in these other layers of the reading. But it's saying whatever curiosity or inquiry you have, the reason you don't have clarity on it, like the reason that you're here on this pick a card, because you don't have the clarity, and so you have to reach out or listen in and see what's available elsewhere. It's only because you're juggling so many things you can't see straight. Right? And there's also this message here of eventually, whether it be life, God, cosmos, great spirit, universe, source, creator, there's this message here, and it's not a warning, it's just like an awareness of, keep in mind, if we try to hold too many balls, ultimately we'll be forced to drop them. And so whether that's through an experience in our lives or internally, one way or another, that burnout comes. So there's this message of course, tending to yourself and doing what is necessary in order to sort of clean this up. Whatever that looks like for you uniquely. And a lot of you, I can feel already, you're saying, oh, well, I can't. Like, that's not an option. This isn't something that I can do. It's not up to me. my role is to do blah, 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 or my boss would never, or I'm already committed, I have all these obligations. And again, we can, hey, I've been there, I'm human, and there's no judgment here. You get to do you. But there's this message of, if we justify our limitations, we're justifying our limitations. And as long as you realize that that's what you're doing, then so be it. But we always have the choice to free ourselves. But it's saying there isn't clarity here. And the reason you can't find clarity is because of the chaos that you are ultimately creating in your reality, because of all these balls and burdens and responsibilities that you're carrying. It feels like there could be a clearer awareness, like whatever it is that you seek, clarity or certainty, one way or the other. It could be there, but it isn't, because, again, you're juggling all of these balls. So let's see what else is here. Yeah, what do we get? I mean, today's reading is so spot on. We do readings all the time. You're on this channel, you're well aware. Phenomenal readings here. In terms of, I just love how everything shows up. Spirit takes really good care of us. But some days, man, I'm crazy impressed at the things that come up, because what it's saying, let me show you these cards actually. I think it's important that you see these. I don't always do that, but today's moving a little bit slowly, the energy, so I have some space. So you see, nothing is set in stone and stress. And then you have balance, spirituality and practicality, and the master. So what this is telling me is recognizing that a huge part of your support system is spiritual. That you think, or perhaps you've been programmed to think, and we all are to a degree, that we have to do it all ourselves, that we have to be the ones to make it happen, to do the thing, to see something through, to bring something to fruition. And so we fill up our to-do list, we fill up our task list, we try to do it all, and it's like you're not giving any room for spirit to support you. And you're going to say, well, yeah, that's because I've never been supported, so I have to do it all myself. But right, which one is true, the chicken or the egg, or perhaps both? But there's some kind of paradox here where it's like, you would be supported, but you don't allow yourself to be supported, but you don't allow yourself to be supported because you aren't supported. Do you see? There's a, what's the term there? There's a term, it's like when opposites kind of come together and it feels almost like impossible, but that's what's happening here. And it's like, you do want that freedom, you do want that clarity, you do want that peace, but you're the only one who can give yourself permission to that. It feels like even if you had a peaceful job that required next to nothing, you would complicate it, you would add more tasks, you do more things. You have a program within you, card pile 2, that would always add more. It would always complicate. It would always add more to your task list, whatever. You would always find a way or a reason. So this isn't just, life happening. There's plenty of people out there that live and do next to nothing. So this is you, and we got that message too in card pile 1, totally different message, but ultimately this is up to you. And I feel like there is an opportunity here for spirit to do more supporting of you, and yet you're not willing to drop the ball, to take the risk, to jump off the ledge, to see if you're caught. You won't even bother trying. It's not worth it to you. And if it's not worth it to you, then perhaps it's not worth it to you. But if it is, if you can't do it anymore, you don't want to live like this, if you do want that clarity, if you do want something that feels a little bit better in your body, if you do care about your well-being, and some of you really want to make a difference in the world. You have a desire for genuine, deep impact. And the thing is, running in the hamster wheel and the rat race isn't the way that we help change the world. That would be the exact opposite of that. So it's like you have these ideas and endeavors about how you want to be, but you don't know how to let yourself go. You don't know how to let some of this go. And so it's remembering that you are the creator. There's a message of the master like we got, and I get a couple things here. One is, allowing yourself to feel supported by the master, God, creator, cosmos, spirit, higher power, universe, but also becoming your own master, recognizing that ultimately it's up to you, how you choose to live, how you choose to work, how you choose to make your money, which values are most important for you, your beliefs around what makes you money. Do you only think you can make money when you're hustling and grinding and doing all the things and quantity over quality, et cetera, et cetera? Or is there room for a new belief system and doing things differently? But there, obviously, we got the card balance spirituality with practicality. You're very much being asked to slow it down, to take better care of yourself, to create more space in your day, to choose things that are in deeper alignment with who you are and what you want. There's a message here of balancing all of that practical doing with some of that nourishing beingness. So that's the message that wants to come through for you today. Yeah, so you're being reminded the energy is gaining momentum, rightness. So you are moving toward rightness. Like the things that you seek and you're working so hard for, they're very much on the way, but will you trust it? Because here's the thing, will you allow yourself to receive it even when it comes through? That's even the message for you, card pile 2. It feels like when everything is fully ripened and blossoming and it's ready to take off the tree, it feels like you will still be working yourself so hard and to the bone, you won't even feel the abundance when it does come in. So there's an opportunity here to lean back a little bit, to step down, to find things that you can let go of, to, again, adjust and tweak whatever you need to bring more clarity, space, and peace to your everyday life. More spirituality, recognizing that the more we foster spirit, the less we have to rely on our own 2 hands to do the work. Nature, the seasons of the world, of this planet, will happen no matter what we do. No matter what humans do or don't do, winter comes, spring arrives, summer rolls in. That happens. There's literally nothing we can do to avoid that, to bring it on, to whatever. There are just some things that are fundamental, and it's saying here, if you just allowed yourself to breathe and to let go, you would see that things still get done, that things still happen for you, that things still come to fruition. And at that point, you're just relying more on life with a capital L, God, Cosmos, Great Spirit, Universe, to support you instead of doing it all yourself. But it looks like you've never even allowed yourself to fully see that, to be able to build that connection, relationship, and trust in that scenario. Here's your opportunity, and it is going to feel like a leap and a jump. The Fool and the Tarot of starting anew, because it feels so ungrounded and unstable to rely on someone or something else. And it doesn't mean like sometimes like balls won't fall, right? Like that doesn't mean everything's gonna go perfectly. Oh, well, now we're gonna curse God because this happened or that happened and I should have just done it all myself. But again, that's still the program talking. So it's allowing yourself to discover a new version of you, one that is more trustworthy, one that can rely more on life to do some of the heavy lifting and some of the dirty work, that can lean back and withdraw, can detach and allow themselves just to enjoy peace of mind and experience new forms of abundance that perhaps you haven't before. And it feels like some of you pay so much attention to the financial piece and securing that because of that fear of instability, that fear of survival, or that survival mode rather, that it's like you aren't even able to attend to the other forms of abundance in your experience. But then again, there's that chicken or the egg thing where it's like, well, because you don't allow yourself to experience any other form of abundance, you tend to prioritize finances or those kinds of outcomes anyway. But then because you prioritize that so much and you work yourself to the bone, you're not familiar with other forms of abundance. So again, you end up in this kind of cluster F situation where you're kind of stuck, right? Whichever way you go, it's not really working out. But there's an opportunity for change here. Yes, like look what we have. We have change and transformation. It's time to release negativity. This program has expired. Like that's all it's coming down to for you, card pile 2. Your career direction is to release this program. It's come to an expiration date. It's only gotten you this far. It will forever only get you this far. If you're thinking you're going to be able to sort of hustle and grind your way to the top or to your next level or to the next thing, it feels like it's just going to continue to bring more of the same, because at the end of the day, you're already holding all the balls. I showed you that card earlier. You can't fit anything else there. So you might be saying, I want blank, or I want blank, or I want blank. I want these particular outcomes. How could they possibly come in? You have no space for anything else. If you have 12 slots in your energy field, let's just say we're making something random up, right? Arbitrary. You have 12 slots in your energy field. Let's say there's 12 are already full and you got 13, 14, 15 kind of on the wait list hanging outside your energy field, and you think anything else is gonna be able to come through. It's like, no, you got to release some of those things. You got to make room, especially this program, because this program is what is encouraging you to fill up all those slots, to keep them full, and to tell you that this is what guarantees your survival. You tell yourself that if I hold all of this up and I do all of these things, it guarantees my survival. And here's the thing, it's not true. Check that belief system. I never talk about going to war with our beliefs because I don't feel like it's relevant or helpful. But what I do suggest is just recognizing when there's a lack of truth, and that's not true. You could literally check off all the boxes and do all the things right and blah, on and on and on. And you could still lose your career, lose your business, get in a car accident, right? What we do doesn't always guarantee an outcome, and that's why we just do it also for the sake of doing it, right? All of that to say, just because you check off all the boxes, it doesn't guarantee you anything, but you think it does, and so that's why you keep doing it. But you're being asked to look at all the places where you've done everything right and it hasn't worked out for you. So if that's the case, then you realize that it's not a fully true belief, and so that belief becomes more flexible, and I encourage you to start living differently in some of the ways that we've talked about today. That way you can start to secure more evidence and data around how life can look and feel and how things can be successful with the help of spirit or life itself, as opposed to putting it all on your own shoulders. So card pile 2, your career direction is much more about letting go, leaning back, allowing life to support you, bringing in more support from spirit as opposed to relying exclusively on yourself, and releasing this program that correlates working really hard with financial success, security, and stability. That's the core. That's the belief system that needs to be addressed and needs to be looked at. That's what wants to be shifted and transformed through this. I'd like you to ask yourself, if I were to release this belief, how would my day look? How would my career change? And what would I do instead? And maybe you might even say, how would you feel? Although I think that part would be obvious. So card pile 2, do let me know how this lands for you. If it does resonate, I encourage you to like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. Of course, I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching work. You can check out those details below if you want to get to know more about me and my work, or you can go to aritygreen.com. Thank you, card pile 2. Okay, card pile 3, we're talking career direction. Okay, so you've been through a difficult, tumultuous period lately. This could be personally, this could be in career, but it feels like a lot of sort of antagonism, confrontation, conflict, like shit's going down or shit's hitting the fan, and it feels like interpersonal. It feels like between other people. So perhaps you're not getting along with coworkers and colleagues. Perhaps you're not getting along with clients or students, or in some way or another, it feels like interpersonal conflict or confrontation is causing some upheaval and or a more tumultuous work experience than you would otherwise experience. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be interpersonal within family and that you're bringing this into work. That could be possible for some of you, but I feel like generally, because especially this is a career reading, and overall the majority energy feels like it's affecting work. It's affecting your attitude about work. It's affecting your morale. It's affecting your motivation, your drive. You start to question yourself, right? Kind of chinks away at the armor of the self-image, or persona rather, where it's like, maybe I'm not everything I thought I was, or maybe they don't like me, or maybe I'm not a right fit, or maybe, this isn't going to work out, right? You start having some of those doubts because you're running into these interpersonal conflicts, and naturally, after a little while, you start to question things and wonder, gosh, is this right? Am I right for this? Is something wrong with me? So I feel like that's what is happening. Now, I do want to say, it feels like this is something more you might be experiencing. Obviously, you are with yourself, but the message is there is something that's going on here astrologically, cosmically, one way or the other, that's bringing about some of these shifts. So I feel like there is this message of not taking it too personally or seriously and assuming it's all about you. This feels like it's relevant at a collective level, and that a lot of people are experiencing this, and it's the kind of usual shit coming up to the surface to be addressed and looked at. A lot of this stuff could be things that have been harbored and compounded and compounded and compounded over time, and then when they're not addressed, what happens is some big thing makes way for it to be addressed, whether it's a crisis or a conflict or an argument or disagreement. This little thing that would normally be a molehill becomes a mountain, but it's also because all the energy was sitting there this whole time. And the analogy that I have for you is, think of a volcano, and normally it's dormant and everything is going well and peaceful and the animals are there and some humans live at the bottom of the volcano, right? It's no big deal. Life as usual. Life is good. And then that lava starts churning underneath. Whatever's happening within those lower layers of the earth, things start moving and energy's flowing and whatever is happening, right? You can imagine. And then ultimately what happens? The volcano blows. So it's like that. It's like everything looks really pristine and looks content or at peace, but in truth, there's all this energy building underneath, and ultimately it's got to blow. And there's nothing inherently wrong about a volcanic explosion. We can't say, gosh, that's bad. Gosh, nature, you're a bad girl. It's just nature. It is what it is. We don't fault or villainize tornadoes or tropical storms or whatever, or volcanoes. But at the same time, it's interesting that we do that with other humans. And there's this sort of extension or this idea of like, hey, or here's this invitation for you, card pile 3, to recognize that, again, you don't have to take this too seriously. It does feel collective or cosmic in some way or astrological, and that it is purposeful and meaningful, and that this is simply just what happens when energy builds, and you can trust this process, and it doesn't have to be something that's so intense or mean something about you or make you have to feel or seem like a failure, any of that stuff. It's very much something where it's actually giving us an opportunity to clean the slate, to clean up our shit, to sweep underneath the rug, and to move on with clearer, cleaner energy that is more transparent, that is more authentic, that is more true. That way we can move forward in a way that is healthy and conscious and aware. So let's see what else is going here. You can't make this stuff up. I love today's reading because everything just adds up so perfectly. So you have your first two cards, fiery climax approaches, projections, people not seeing each other the way they truly are. They're seeing the other person based on their own wounding. It's giving each person a chance to recognize their own wounding and to see where their projections are and to see where perhaps the way that they see things isn't the ultimate truth. And really it's supporting personal transformation and growth amongst all parties if and when they choose to do that work. Now, what's coming through in the next card is romantic cycle approaches and friendliness. So again, we talked a little bit about once that energy surge happens or the spillover happens in the volcano, everything goes back to peace. That same old baseline. Now, let's be real. In an analogy like the volcano, we have lava everywhere and ash, and a lot of things have been destroyed. So it doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen, right? It doesn't mean that shit doesn't go down. It just means that ultimately this brings about, again, that cleaner chapter, something that is truer, more authentic, more real, and more friendly, but not friendly, fake friendly. Like, oh, okay, they're just going to be nice to me, or I'm going to be nice to them because I have to, or I know that's the right thing to do. But where both people can be maybe a little bit more honest, a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more transparent, a little bit more real. They can feel free to be more of themselves and perhaps to share their feelings more transparently and authentically, to express themselves and to share their voice, to share their opinion. It's like when you have a friendship and or a romantic connection where in the beginning everything's kind of easy and innocent and you have your first big fight and it kind of changes everything, and it's because now you guys have faced each other for who you really are, like on the other side. So now you can present each other as more whole people who do have bad days or do have traits that maybe we don't love or whatever, but we finally look at each other eye to eye, heart to heart, like we're whole, real human beings, and sometimes we're just raw and human and we fuck up. So it's like getting to that place. But as a result of letting all this energy come up and out and doing that work to process it and just gleaning what you're meant to from that situation or these multiple situations, it does clears the slate. That way you can move forward from a new foundation. So I feel like some of you right now perhaps want some kind of resolve or closure. And that's not going to be the case for everybody. I feel like this is for, maybe 30% of you where you're still seeking closure. And so however this applies to you, we still have one more row of cards to go. But it's saying, some of you want something now. You want to know the answer. Is it going to be fixed? Is it all going to work out? Are they going to fire me? Or are they going to keep me on board? Is this client relationship still intact? Again, you're looking for that positive outcome, and or you want that closure and that resolve, and it may not be here now. And it's saying that trust, wait this out, let the energy do what it needs to do, right? The volcano has to erupt and erupt fully to get to that point where it finally settles and returns to its dormant phase. So we kind of have to let all that stuff pass, right? The storm will pass, but we have to let it pass. The only way out is through. So we get through the storm, and then on the other side of the storm, we do find ultimately what we seek, but it's not going to be because we forced it or because we controlled it or just because we said so. Some things, it's just by nature of how things go, right? It's the nature of the beast, and we have to allow the dust to settle. So let the dust settle and allow yourself in the meantime to be nourished or nurtured or supported by your own self-compassion, by the compassion of Spirit, God, Cosmos, Great Spirit, Universe. Using this as a time to really deepen into your trust and anchor into your own likeness of yourself, like how much you like yourself. As silly as that seems, but it's like you can start questioning yourself in these kinds of situations. But this could be an opportunity too, after you've done some of the projection work and seen where maybe things could have been different for you, or perhaps you could have responded differently or whatever. Allow yourself to really honor yourself, how far you have come, the effort that you do put in, how well you do try. Whatever it is for you that your inner child might like to hear, you can offer yourself some of those sentiments or support or whatever it is that you seek or would like to receive from someone else. Your closure and resolve can very much come from you. It does not have to rely on another person. Yeah, so again, letting things be, surrendering this to the divine. When we release that energy, that volcanic eruption happens, we release it up to God and Great Spirit, to recycle that energy into a higher form, something that's cleaner and more supportive for a higher vibration and upgrade in our own consciousness and experience. So the longer you hold on to this, the more it just builds more and more energy and continues to be a volcano and just add to that scenario. Ideally, although it's tough, hello, we're all human. Ideally, you would be able to release it to the divine. And I think, starting to nurture yourself and support yourself in this way and connect deeper with spirit, I think it's going to support you to, let go of that hold, that hard grip on this whole situation. But I think ultimately when you do that, you can trust that a much more beautiful outcome results. We even have this card, we are the world. So what happens? That beautiful harmony between people, a more cohesive whole, a genuine community. People become closer as a result, more authentic as a result. People come together with cleaner, healthier energy. They know themselves more. They can make more conscious choices because they know themselves more. They also know each other better, so they can make more conscious choices to honor the other person, so on and so forth. We're able to create a much more beautiful outcome as a result of not only this volcanic eruption, which is inherent and natural to any kind of anything, but also in relationships that does support an upgrade. People think it's a problem, to have confrontation and conflict. But that's just our human minds, because things sting and we have to face our own projections and we also have to face our own triggers, yada, yada, yada. But ultimately, it's actually clearing the slate so that things can be easier and gentler and kinder and more loving. And this is bringing about a greater connection, a greater whole. So in terms of your career direction, it sounds like there's been a tumultuous season, and I don't know how long that's been. For some of you, it feels like 1 week. For some of you, it feels longer, but things have been difficult, if not at times toxic in the workplace. And please know that a lot of this is coming up to the surface. Things can be revealed and looked at and released, surrendered to the divine, so new energy can come through. And ultimately, it does feel like there's a positive, favorable outcome, but it feels like it's going to come from you too, right? So not just spirit making something happen for you, but it feels like once you release this, you find the clarity that you seek about, okay, do I stay in this job? Do I still work for this boss? Do I take the promotion? Whatever your version is, right? Do I continue down this line in my line of work? Do I continue with my business? Do I turn around? Whatever. You're going to gain that clarity, but it's not going to be when you're holding on tight to all this fear, upset, triggering, tumultuousness, all that. It's not going to come from that energy. You're going to have to release it completely, take really good care of yourself, and then see what results and what is revealed through that process. Because ultimately it's saying there's a favorable outcome for all parties. So, card pile 3, I do hope this resonated for you. If it did, I encourage you to to subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. And I want to let you know that I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching work. If you'd like to learn more about me and how I can support you, you can check out those details below or at aritygreen.com. Thank you, card pile 3. Okay, card pile 4, career direction. So right off the bat, it feels like at some point there was some kind of loss, some kind of broken dream, some kind of disappointment, disillusionment, disenchantment, upset, where something happened, something crumbled, and something broke. Again, the broken dreams kind of reminds me of a tower moment, but I feel, interestingly enough, oftentimes a tower moment sort of breaks everything, right? It destroys everything, to the point it also supports you if you fully, will say, allow the process and let things flow and don't hold on too tight. It allows you to clear away any kind of angst, upset, anger, grief, disappointment, whatever it is that you might be carrying as a result. When that process fully goes from A to B, from start to finish, we are cleared of all of that energy. And so then we start fresh on the other side of that grief process. But here's the thing for you, card pile 4. I feel like, I don't know when this falling apart was, when this crumbling was, what you might consider a failure or disappointment, whatever that was, this broken dream, this tower moment. It feels like for so long, though, you still held on to it and you yearned for it. And at a deeper level, you still yearn for it. And if you were completely transparently honest with yourself, you could hit that nerve or strike that chord and you would probably cry, or at least well up with tears. Like, you would connect with it emotionally if you allowed yourself to. And I'm feeling 2 different messages here about this dream. Not that they're for different people, but that it's like a twofold message, where one, we kind of hold on to the dream the whole time without actually grieving it and letting it go. it's almost like a lot of that energy remains, and so we still hold on to that old energy and it lingers, meaning we don't fully close out the previous chapter and step into the new. So I feel like you never maybe fully let go of this dream, and there might be an opportunity now for you to do that, even if it's just through ritual or ceremony, making a decision, whatever, allowing yourself to grieve, giving yourself the space to do that, bookend it, give yourself 24 hours or a week to cry the shit out of this thing and finally let yourself feel it all and then move forward. You can do something like that. But I feel like that could be the case for some of you. I feel like it's maybe a twofold message for everybody, but it's like when we hold on that tight, we're never able to fully grieve and let it all go. So it's like we still hold on to some of that old, was it upset, disappointment, grief, disillusionment, whatever that is. The second part of this message is, this is your dream. Let yourself still dream. Let yourself return to the innocence of dreaming. Let yourself be honest with yourself about this dream. I feel like you've suppressed this dream. I feel like you've suppressed this desire, that you've almost lost touch with it. It's almost like you lost a part of yourself, maybe even could be a soul loss at some level. It might be worth it to you if it lands for you, if it resonates, if it shows up in your reality, something really easy and clear and natural and organic from this moment to work with an energy worker or a shamanic practitioner. I have been in a training for over a year now in shamanic apprenticeship. I work with someone. You could always message me or connect with me to do that work if you want to do it that way, but there's plenty of ways to do it. That doesn't have to be just that. But I do share that with you if there is a soul loss or something like that. But I feel like you really suppress this desire because after the loss of it, and that's also why you held on to this attachment to this dream, but you didn't even realize you did because it was held away and like locked up in a key, and you said, okay, never mind then. And now you're having trouble, very well, it feels like maybe even trouble accessing this dream. What is it that I really want? I don't even know what I want anymore. I don't have any clarity. I don't feel any passion or fulfillment or excitement. Where did that part of me go? You know, I used to have passion or drive or excitement. So I feel like when you locked away and tucked it away, this dream, because something happened that made you feel like this wasn't going to happen or wasn't possible, which by the way, the message from Spirit is no, that clearing out was to actually bring you this dream. Like the way that your mind was seeing it was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, bam, my dream. But the universe was seeing very clearly that it wasn't going to turn out the way that you thought, or just wasn't, who knows, we don't understand higher mind. There's no way to understand it with our limited ego minds, but one way or another, the other way, however things were going down, it just wasn't going to turn out perhaps the same way, in a bigger way, whatever. So this was actually serving you, is my whole point with that. But the message is reconnecting to that dream, letting yourself dream again, letting yourself dream again, letting yourself daydream. Even if you did a meditation, like you don't have to necessarily go get an energy worker or a shamanic practitioner. If you feel like it's at that level, please do. However, you could do a meditation with yourself. Go inside yourself. Visualize that box. Visualize yourself grabbing the key. Visualize yourself turning the lock. Visualizing yourself then opening the door and asking your dream to usher itself out. There, you might find a little bit of resistance, apprehension, or reluctance, because I do feel like that's part of your inner child. And they've said, well, never mind then, you know, if I don't get to have it, and it like terrified your child, your inner child, just this part of you, whether you identify with it as an inner child or not, that this wasn't going to happen for you. And it was so deeply devastating that, again, you couldn't even touch the nerve of it. And so most of it was hidden away in this lockbox. You're being asked to not coax necessarily or force this part of you out or force this dream out, but to at least open the door, ask for it to come out, and then you start, that's all your meditation is. You're not forcing it, you're not expecting yourself to see anything. You very well might. You might have a rush of energy, a rush of passion, renewed excitement, something might happen, something might take over. But for some of you, you're going to do it and you're going to be like, okay, you know, that felt kind of good. You might have a couple tears or something, but you move on with your life. And so how do you bring this into everyday action is you start making space to dream again. Maybe you're drawing pictures or painting or finding ways to, again, coax, but that has a little bit of a semblance of a force connotation to it because you're not coaxing, you're literally just inviting. So through your creative expression, your playful expression, your artistic expression, your self-expression, you're going to give this dream, this part of you, the opportunity to begin to step out of its hole and not redeem itself, but reveal itself and let it be known once more, so you can contact this dream again, so you can contact the nerve of what it is, what you're here to do, your life purpose, your soul's work, your soul mission, but also the thing that you just dreamt of that you thought was yours and then you thought was taken away from you. This is, and again, you've disconnected yourself or suppressed it, so you've been unable to contact it fully now. That's probably why you're here, is like, so what's next? I don't even know anymore. And blah, blah, blah. You don't know because it's been hidden away. So you're going to open this door in meditation. And then again, you're going to create space in your every week to, you set, as soon as you go to dance or paint or write or whatever, you say to yourself, okay, I'm setting the intention and asking or inviting this part of me to reveal itself and to make itself known. This is a healthy and safe place for it to come out and to play with me, and I'm going to dance, or I'm going to write, or I'm going to go on live stream, or whatever it is that whatever way it is you create, whatever way it is that you experience, that you enjoy expressing yourself. So that way that dream can begin to reveal itself to you. It might come also in dreams while you're asleep. It could come in, again, allowing yourself to daydream. So when you're in your car, drive safely, please, okay? But sometimes we daydream a little bit. And so perhaps something comes in there. The point is you're creating this space for this dream to reconnect with you. And you might set that intention too. I want to reconnect to my dream. I'm ready. I'm ready to reconnect to this dream. I'm ready to grieve any old feelings that are still there. I'm ready to let all that go, to surrender it to the divine. So this dream can reinstate itself within me in my energy field and then manifest out in my external reality. So that's where you're at. Yeah. A personal issue reaches resolution. So again, this energy is like, it was always up to you. It was always up to you, but you were controlling it. You were hiding it. You were suppressing it. You weren't allowing yourself to feel it, because if I just remain sterile and numb and focused and do everything I know I need to do and just stick to the plan, then everything's going to work out, and everything's going to work out in my favor, and I'll be able to make this happen. But it's like there was a part of you that was severed. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to pursue my dream, but I'm not going to care anymore, because if I cared, I might get my heart broken again, It's like you set out to do the same thing in your career, whatever form it takes, but this time you haven't let the inner child out, you haven't let the wonder child out, you haven't allowed yourself to get emotionally involved or emotionally invested, you haven't allowed yourself to feel the dream, to sense the dream, to connect with the dream, or your desires, or your passion. Again, it was all sort of closeted away, and you're like, but I'll make it happen anyway. But the thing is, it's never going to work out without the emotional energy. First of all, it's going to feel rote and routine and mechanic and sterile, and it's not going to be that fulfilling for you. But second of all, it's just simply not going to turn out. But here's the thing: a personal issue reaches resolution. This is meant to change today, if not yesterday, if not whenever. It's like you've always been in control of this. It's time to let that part come out and play. It's time for you to come out and play again, to enjoy yourself again, to allow yourself to enjoy this, to allow yourself to enjoy your work, to allow yourself to enjoy your self-expression, to make this fun again, to let loose, to let your hair down. Card pile 4, your direction at this point is very much reconnecting to that dream that you've hidden and locked away as a result of your grief and disappointment, disenchantment, and disillusionment, and let it color your world once more. And you're going to find it through your own creative expression, your own artistic expression, your own self-expression. It's going to start to reveal itself to you. It could be all in full, or it could be in pieces over time. But this is meant to come to resolution and shift now. The time is now to change that. It feels like it's been as an available window for a while, and you've still been locking it away. Again, I'll just do it without that. I don't need the joy. I don't need the passion. I don't need the excitement. I can just do it on my own. I don't even need the vision. I'll just do it. But you've been finding a lack of fulfillment in that regard. Yeah, so you're being asked to trust and surrender. And I feel like we know that, right? That's kind of the energy of, instead of it being mechanical and dry and just executing and going about crossing the T's and dotting the I's, it's letting ourselves love again. It's letting ourselves love this dream again. It's letting ourselves energize this dream again, to allow ourselves to go there, to connect with, to hit the nerve, to strike the chord, to be there in it, and allow yourself to get in deep with this dream again. There might be some grief there or some other emotions that want to come through, and I think that's part of the reason why I was hidden away, in fear of losing it again, in fear of, and so you thought you lost clarity, but it's like, no, you didn't lose clarity. It was always there. It had been suppressed and denied, and you more or less said, okay, well, I give up then. I'll live without it. I'll learn to live without it if I don't know it's there. Your commitment is being tested. So what I feel like for this dream, for this message, is something along the lines of, and I'll sit here for a minute too and see any other messages that I might get, but I feel like you felt that your commitment was being tested, right? Because again, you were doing all the things, you're dotting all the I's, you're crossing all the T's, you're showing up, you're following through on the plan. Like, where is this dream? Where is the emotional fulfillment? Like, why hasn't it happened yet? And it's because it didn't have the truth. The truth of you is that deeper dream, that deeper longing, that tender ache. What is that? Put it out on paper, paint that, sing that, dance it, know it, feel it. Start to live this dream, sort of like the vibe of it, the energy of it, what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. It's like getting in the energy of that dream again, letting it to be a part of your world, letting it be a part of your body vessel, your mind, body, spirit, your life experience. It's getting intimate with this dream again. It's like kind of getting to know someone all over again, right? So there might be some reluctance and apprehension right off the bat, but you're going to invite it through some of the ways that we talked about already. And this is a matter of trusting. It's like letting yourself let go, letting yourself love again, letting yourself surrender completely to this dream. Let yourself surrender to this dream. No holds barred. It's like, it's really about opening your heart ultimately, card pile 4. It's about opening your heart again. Like, that's the soul version of this story. I've given you all the human stuff, but it's really about, this is all a lesson for you, put that in quotes, a story arc of your life about opening your heart again after heartbreak, or opening your heart in general. What did I say? So bring love into the situation. Exactly. Ultimately, it's about reconnecting to your inner child, your wonder child. It's ultimately about reconnecting to your heart, your heart's desires. Ultimately about reconnecting to the dream, the big dream, the one dream that you have now denied yourself because, oh no, that won't happen, so I'll settle for what's next, or the subpar thing, or the mediocre thing, or the thing that I'm not even sure I like, but I'm going to do it because it's something, and maybe it'll bring me what I think it might bring me because so-and-so. You see that vibe? And it's like, no, you've had a dream though. Where's that dream? Reconnect with that dream. That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to do that. And what's going to help you some of this too? We talked about creative expression, but also silence. It's saying meditation, whatever kinds of practices that support you to bring about more spaciousness, ease, gentleness, silence also into your life. It doesn't always have to be meditation. Sometimes it's yoga. Sometimes it's mindfully cooking dinner or a mindful breath. I know it's different for everybody, and we're all operating at like 100 miles an hour. You know, many of us are anyway. And so, you know, I don't take this advice lightly when I share it, but I also recognize what you're being shared here with card pile 4. It feels like the more you can sort of allow yourself to let your defenses go, right? Or the more we create that space of meditation, of just allowing ourselves to be here, allowing ourselves to fully drop into this moment, that's when we let all those defenses down. That's when we let all our armor down. That's when we let all of our defenses toward the dream and the heartbreak and the heartache and all this and pushing other people away or rejecting the passion or whatever. All that stuff can start to soften and release the more space that we create. And so it might even be difficult for you to create space right now because you're in total avoidance of feeling all of this, of facing that heartbreak, of facing that grave loss, that grave disappointment where you thought it was over for you and that it was never going to happen, that your dream was stolen from you. Allowing yourself to get into the tenderest of places, because that's where you rediscover your heart. It's also where you rediscover the passion and the aliveness that you seek in your career once more. So card pile 4, if this resonated for you, I encourage you to like, to subscribe. Please press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. I also want to let you know that I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching work. You can learn more about me and what I can do or how I can support you down below or at aritegreen.com. Thank you, card pile 4.